Okay, back to our single page application. So this is kind of where I ended up here from our empty box models from last week. So zooming in here a little bit, we've got our three selections here. I made them kind of like a tent card, almost like a weird cast shadow, just like still experimenting with the design, but I ended up with a lot of grays and muted colors. So let's talk about color just for a second here. So I went and I found a color palette, burgundy and gray, right? So no need to invent the wheel. The color trees are the correct way to go, but for right now, in order to maintain progress, it's okay to go ahead and leverage color palettes like this one here. So where does this color palette come from? So if you go over to Pinterest, you can actually just do a search. In my case was gray, burgundy and gray color palette. And you can see there's quite a few. So I've got this one here, has a lot of warm tones in it. Obviously it's wine. I don't want it to be too cold. You've got quite a few different options available here. And you can see the mood, the color, that the emotion that they create. And then, you start getting some variation, some greens in there and, warmer colors and things. You can even see here there are font pairings. It kind of can give you some ideas. So definitely leverage Pinterest, just get the idea of what you want and then start looking for some existing color palettes. And then what you'll want to do is just grab that color palette, whatever it is, and paste it right in. So you can right click copy and right click paste. It'll drop it right into your file here. So, and then I started, this particular background color here is our dark color from the top here. These warmer tones are here, and the background is this gray here, and you can see the dark color is this very bottom one. From my existing website that I'm working on, I'm going to go ahead and just copy the image here and then paste it right in, Control V paste. I've pasted it up here, and then go ahead and just drop that into my design. I went ahead and I copied the logo in there. So now that I'm starting to place my colors, it's starting to give me a little look and feel for the website. Leveraging again the color palette from here, I've got these kind of warmer tones available as well. Let's repeat it in kind of this background of the image here. So some really cool ways to start in bringing in the design. I've obviously got to keep populating, but I'm working here. The single page application is just this middle section here. So let's say I'm going to click wine, and then this needs to open up here. So what I'm going to do is I went ahead and I created this ahead of time. When I click on wine, then this is going to then slide open. And I can use my arrow keys there. I've got just a little bit of a white graphic going through there. This will slide open, and I need some kind of indicator here. So I'll probably do is grab a, just like that, a square, and I'm going to rotate it just 45 degrees by hitting Shift, and then bring it to the front so you can right click and then bring to front, send it back. It's the straight brackets. Okay. So I'm going to bring it all the way to the front, and it says it's on the front here. So you can see I've got stacking issues going on. So what's going on here? So that's this rectangle here that is inside the desktop. So if I turn off my desktop image here, I'm going to notice a couple of things here. Not everything turned off. So this is a common thing that's going to happen. This is my desktop design here. Take a look at all this other stuff here. These are all these items over here. Okay, so I've got something cool. I don't know what that is. Okay, but I got red wine, my white wines, my lists. I've got some rectangles here. So these are these rectangles out here. So for right now, I've got all of these here that are not inside of my desktop. So, okay, here's my desktop. I've got desktop one. Let's turn that one off. This is the desktop I'm working on here. So this is going to be my website. Let's go ahead and name that. What I want to do is basically, okay, do some cleanup here. So I'm going to click and drag across all of these here. Picked up all the elements except for that one. I don't want that one. I'm going to control click. I want to deselect that one. Okay. So I've got all of these elements here. And something cool is the background. Okay. With all those elements there, I can right click and I can group them together, group the selection. That's what you're probably used to. Now I've got a big group here, right? So this is my wine drop down. So for right now, we can go ahead and group that together here. And what I want to do is find where this particular object is. Notice I can't select it because it is actually locked. So I'm going to go through here, and if I see here wine selector here, I'm going to unlock this one. Basically, that's where it is. Okay. So, and then something cool is down there also. Here's my wine drop down. I'm going to go ahead and grab that and drop it all the way down here, right underneath my wine selector. So there's my wine selector. Here's my wine drop down now. And now here is my new element that I'm holding shift. I'm going to go ahead and just drop that in there. And I want that to just sit right there. I'm going to zoom in so we can see it. Remember, if we double click, we're now inside of the shape here. What I want to do is, you can see my shape symbolism has turned. I'm going to pull this one down here. I can also go in there with my pen tool, and I can either add to it, remove it, change the shape, those types of things. Okay, so now I just made it a quick indicator for right now. Okay, and there we go. So this can be some kind of indicator in the future that now we are in the wine section, or just checking out wines, a variety of different things. Okay. So this would open this up here, and then each one of these elements would be clickable. So what would happen next, according to my user experience, would be that I could then click on the Merlot, for example, and now that needs to change my interface to my Merlot interface. So what does that look like? So let's say Merlot. We're going to pop in here. Let's zoom in a little bit. So this is in Fig Jam. So this is kind of what we clicked wine. We have our wine list that's opening up. Here I clicked Cab, right? So the Cab Sauvignon. So I should have now all of this drop down needs to go away. I should have a title, and I need to create this card next. So product image, description, title, price, quantity, and check availability. Okay, so that's next in my SPA. So I'm going to zoom out here. Remember, because if this was a website, I would click here and then this would go to a new page, right? Instead, my SPA is going to change, right? So I'm going to move these out of the way here. And for right now, in the interest of time, what I'm going to do is just leave that there, but I'm going to make a new rectangle. So I'm going to just alt drag and create a new rectangle. Okay. And then I copied the entire thing. So this is no longer wine drop down. This is going to be my single product. And inside of here, I really don't need any of these here. I'm going to leave the title, but I can get rid of wines. All of these here can go away. And something cool is the actual background. Now, what I could do here is actually maybe change the color, use the eyedropper, and make that dark. And then I'm going to change this. Let's keep it Cabernet. So I've got my product title now. I would need to put in an image. Now this would be a logo for right now. I don't have a logo here, so I'm just going to get my rectangle and place a rectangle inside of it. Place a placeholder there for my image. And then go back to my design here. I would need to create the product title, the description, quantity, and price. So all those types of details, I'm just going to pop up inside of here. I'm going to copy one of those, pop back out and paste. Increase this. And I could then go on there so that, let's just say this is Cal Coast Cabernet and so on, right? You would just kind of go through now and actually create the actual product price, the description, body copy, all those types of elements that you need would actually then populate inside of this particular area. with my actual call to action button down here. So remember, if you enter into the shape, you just double click to exit back out. Space bar, I'm going to zoom in here and go into this particular shape. This can be my button, and I think I've got two buttons, right? So check availability. Oh, this is my quantity. I got to build the UI for the quantity there, and then make another button on this side here. And you would design this. Now in the app, once I click on one of these, then this entire thing would go away, and this entire section would then appear, right? So we would now have this. We need a back button to go back in. So I've got some more design to do on my SPA here, right? So I've got to go back. I've got my beer, my spirits. You know, I don't see my countries, right? So maybe I'm going to add a countries button up here. That allows me to filter, right? We need a back button. So I still got some things to kind of crunch through and figure out, okay? But it's making progress now. I've got my color palette, and I'm using this kind of chart here to keep building and figuring things out. That's kind of how all of this is working here. So we're using our user experience or our workflow, either one of those, to start creating the graphical elements. And you can see that it's not a web page, because if it was a web page, I'd click, we'd go to a new web page. This available wine goes away. The individual clicked wine, single page would display. Or if I went straight to beer, then I would probably change the background. We need a beer list, a spirit list, you know, and I'm probably going to use a variety of colors just to really give some feedback to the viewers that the item is something completely different. Okay, that wraps it up a little bit for today. Let's keep working on our designs.